Okay, so welcome. Very excited tonight to talk about stress and how to overcome it because I know, especially at this time of year, a lot of people get stressed out. They're overwhelmed, they're feeling exhausted, they haven't got the energy to do things they really want to do, and they've got so many things going on in their life, and they're really not quite sure how to handle it. So, what we're going to talk a lot about tonight is, well, what is stress? What actually causes it? And I want to give you a few surprises as to what does cause it. We're going to talk about the adverse effects it has, which is quite dramatic. Because if you look at the word dis-ease, it sounds dis-ease, you're not at ease, which means it implies stress. And then we're going to give some practical suggestions of how you can overcome it. So the first thing I want to ask, Sago, is what do you want to learn about stress tonight? What's the big thing you would like to learn?
I suppose just to how to manage it and how to cope with it.
Yeah. How does stress affect your life?
Mm, oh, it's with everything I do, whether it's study, um, whether, if I'm thinking too much about something or um, if I haven't been sleeping well lately, and my condition as well. So,
Yeah. Okay. So it's quite dramatic.
mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start off by talking about what do we mean by stress? And if you look at stress in the dictionary, you probably get um, comments like this. It's like it's a state of feeling strained or forced or a lot of tension or disturbance. And in a way, you're overstretching yourself, which means you're pushing yourself to the limit. And therefore, what you tend to do is you feel overwhelmed or you feel exhausted. Yeah. A good way, another analogy is, can you imagine driving a car at 100 miles an hour, just say, let's say 120 miles an hour, just continually. I mean, the car is going to be at stress, right? In other words, it's pushing everything to the limit. So the question is, why do we create this state in our life? Why do we create this state of being overwhelmed, overstretched, feeling strained, feeling tension, right? What causes it? Because it's really interesting because humans do get stressed a lot. But when you look at animals, animals don't tend to be stressed. I was in Kenya recently and I did an animal safari. And one of the things I really noticed was that animals are very relaxed. Yeah, they don't look as though they're pushing themselves like humans, who tend to work long hours, study a lot, work when it's hot. Yeah, animals sort of hunt for a couple of hours a day and then they relax the rest of it. So what causes stress? Well, in a way, there's a few surface reasons, but underlying them, there's some deep reasons I want to identify tonight, right? Now, one thing is that people would mostly look at in terms of stress is they're doing too many things for the limited time, right? In other words, they're trying to push themselves, which might indicate a lack of focus or a lack of planning in their life, right? And because even like I got a girlfriend in Kenya and she was working 5 days a week and then she's studying every night, which really put her under stress, right? So in a way, it's like having too many commitments, right? Which you believe you can't handle. Yeah. But also causing stress is incompletions. And what I mean by incompletions, if you've done things you haven't completed yet, which could include unresolved issues, especially related to you, Zago, right? If you've
Mhm.
got unresolved issues in your life, you're still connected to them energetically until they're resolved. Now, if you've got a lot of trauma you haven't dealt with, that's really stressing you out because energetically you're still connected to them until they're resolved. So one thing that really does stress people out a lot, apart from trying to do too much, is actually having a lot of unresolved trauma. Now, another thing is in terms of cause of stress, is people are disconnected from them from their authentic self. Now, if you're disconnected from your authentic self to be accepted in the world, then in a way you're going to create stress because you're actually not embodying your full essence, right? And in a way, a lot of people are trying to be a false self and trying to create in the world from a false sense of who they are. And in a way, that's going to cause a lot of stress. If you're trying to do things which don't really are who you are, that's going to cause a lot of stress because you're putting your system under stress because you're not really being who you are. And underlying that is a resistance to life, to share who you really are. And I can tell you most illness, if you look at it from a shamanic perspective, shamans will say all illness is caused by soul loss. In other words, you're not embodying your soul, you're blocking your soul. And the more you block your soul, you resist being who you are. Well, you're going to cause stress because you're trying to create from a limited perception of who you are. So that's really a deep cause of stress, which I think is really important for a lot of people. Because I see a lot of people trying to create in the world, but not being who they really are. And in a lot of cases, people be busy, people being addicted to being busy, which means they're always doing things and not relaxing. And in a way, one reason people do that is to avoid looking at themselves. I think that's one of the biggest attachments in the world. People are busy all the time because they don't want to stop, because they're scared to actually look at their stuff, or their unresolved trauma might come up. So in a way, that's going to cause stress because you're always pushing yourself. But if you look at animals, they don't tend to push themselves all day. Like a lot of, when I was in Kenya, it's quite interesting. I know some people working 6 days a week for 10 hours a day, not earning a lot of money. And then the day off, they're doing all their domestic. So, and they can't really afford to go out at night because if they go out and party, well, they're going to be really tired because they've got to go work the next day. So in a way, they're creating a very stressful life, which I would call a bit like being a slave. Yeah. And then underlying that, the stress is exacerbated because then people think and worry a lot about trying to handle life. And that thinking also causes stress, right? Because they're always worrying and thinking, and therefore they can't sleep. So sleeping is one of the adverse effects of stress, which actually adds to stress because you're not relaxing enough, right? So it's another cause of stress is people not being able to sleep and relax. Yeah. Does it all make sense, Sago?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you can relate to that.
yeah, yeah.
So then let's look at the effects of stress. And as I said, it's interesting if you look at the word dis-ease. Dis-ease, you're not at ease, which in a way is you're putting your body at stress. So in a way, all illness is caused by stress, right? Which from a shamanic perspective, it's because you're not being who you are. I mean, all shamans will say that all illnesses caused by disconnecting from your soul. And the way we do that is by holding on to limiting perceptions of who we are. And those limiting perceptions, we're not good enough, or I can't do this, or I don't have confidence, or I have to do this for my family, or whatever, they cause stress because you're not being who you are. It takes a lot of energy to resist being who you are. That actually causes stress. And therefore, what happens is you put your body under a lot of stress. And it's like any machine, in a way. If you keep putting a machine, right, let's say like a juicer blender. Most fruit blenders are supposed to last for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Now, if you keep that blender on for a couple of minutes, that's going to put that machine under a lot of stress because it's not supposed to do it. Now, if you put your body continually under a lot of stress, because you're not sleeping and you're doing too many things and you've got a lot of incompleted issues, your body's going to create illness because the body's just going to not cope with trying to deal with that. And of course, if you look at the extreme case of stress, you get chronic fatigue. Now, chronic fatigue is when the body is so exhausted, the body stops the person for 6 months. And they're so exhausted they can't do anything, which is what chronic fatigue, right? Because the body's fatigued from the stress. But a general cause of impact of stress, effect of it, is people are very exhausted. They don't have the energy to really enjoy life. They're feeling overwhelmed. They worry a lot. They think a lot. Therefore, they can't sleep. They can feel quite anxious in terms of creating things because they're wondering whether they're going to be able to handle life. So they can be quite nervous, and they can even be distressed. And it's interesting, if you look at the word distress, it's like stress. It's a really interesting word. So, therefore, the effects of stresses can be a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of worrying. That can put you in a lot of heavy emotions like anxiety and fear, nervousness, panic, right, hopelessness. It's going to cause a lot of body symptoms because you're pushing your body too much. So that could create problems in any organs, right? Because you're just pushing the body too much, right? And then in your life, if you're already stressed out and not really creating from a high energy because your body's in a low energy from being exhausted, you're going to create a lot of life dramas because what you create in the world is a reflection of your inner energy. So if you create a lot of stress in your body and in your thoughts and in your mind and in your emotional state, you're going to create a lot of life dramas in your life, which might be a lot of conflict or a lot of accidents happen in your life, or you create dramas with other people, right? Because if you're stressed inside, well, you're going to create stress in your life, which means you could always have things that you feel don't go right for you, as an example, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you relate to a lot of those effects in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the important question is, well, how can you overcome it? Right. Well, then you've got to really look at what causes it. And what's really important is to have relaxation time. I've got a client at the moment who's suffering from stress. And part of it's actually having relaxation time every day. And it could even be 5 or 10 minutes, which just gives you time to not have to do anything or think about anything, but just to totally relax. And for some people, that even means not meditating, because sometimes when people meditate, they're thinking. No, it's actually having a relaxed time when you're not doing anything. Yeah. Because you just allow yourself to go in that very peaceful state. I remember when I went on this animal safari in Kenya, and we're driving around, and we were within 3 or 4 yards of these 4 lions who were sleeping. Right? It's the middle of the day, about 11 o'clock in the day. And they were so relaxed and asleep, they didn't even wake up. And this car was driving right next to them. They didn't have fear or anxiety. They were just sleeping together, all curled up. And they looked so peaceful because you allow themselves to really relax. So part of it is actually having a good relaxation techniques, right? From my girlfriend in Kenya, I sent her to a massage yesterday, which is a good way to relax. So having just a tender massage, not a deep healing massage, but like just a relaxation massage, that can help you relax. Or it could be that when you come home at night, right, cold showers are good to wash off the day, wash off all the energy you might pick up. Because the other reason why you might feel stressed is you take on the energy of other people. Yeah. So you get drained because you feel other people are affecting you, which means you're not in your power. So if other people take your energy, that's also going to cause you to be stressed. So for instance, whenever I do talks or run classes or have clients, I'm always showering. And I have a cold shower, starts off with a hot shower, but even just for 20, 30 seconds at the end, cold shower just clears your body. And it means you let go of the energy of other people. But, you could be having a hot bath with nice oils, right? That can be a very good relaxing technique, right? So one way to overcome stress is to have relaxation techniques. Now, the other thing about that is actually also you can be doing things in your life that you love to do. Because people might be stressed out because they're working too much, or it could be a single mother who's trying to look after 3 kids and work at the same time. Is to have time where you're doing things you really like to do, right? Like I've got this guy that I'm working with at the moment. He's married with 2 boys, right? And the boys are very young. So he needs to have relaxation time when he hasn't got the responsibility of the kids. And this is about working out with the wife, right? Where he can go and do things he really likes to do, like surf. He likes surfing, right? So going and surfing and doing something you really like to enjoy is a good way to release stress. So doing activities that you really like to do is another way of releasing stress. And that could be watching sport or going watching a movie or sitting in the park or having a walk along the beach, whatever it is. But just where you feel you've got no responsibilities and you can just enjoy being who you are. Now, other ways to overcome stress, given what we talked about, is to be very focused and planned in the way that you organize your life so that you don't feel as though you've got too many things planned. Right. Because as I said, too many people, they work very long hours and they don't really give themselves enough time. And this is one reason why I've created working for myself, because I only work about 20 hours a week. Right. And now I've got a lot of relaxation time and I work from home, so I don't have to deal with, um, controlling bosses or anything. So having focus and planning is a good thing to reduce stress. And especially like if you've got a partner, like as I said to this guy, you've got to talk to your wife where there might be times where you take it in turns looking after the kids, right? So they can have your own time. Really important. Obviously, we talked about stress is often caused by disconnecting from who you are. So therefore, a way to overcome stress is to connect to who you are, is to really give yourself permission to be who you are, which is really having the confidence and courage to do and be who you are and not looking for acceptance from other people and acting other people's lifestyles based on guilt or shame, right? It's about letting go of unresolved issues. Because as I said, part of stress is caused by incompletions, which means that if you've got unresolved issues, your body's energy is still connected to them, right? Whereas what a lot of people do is they cover up their unresolved issues with addictions, like could be alcohol or drugs or shopping or could be sex or being busy, whatever it is. But you need to resolve them. And when you resolve your issues through healing, then that actually is going to reduce your stress. Right. Stop thinking. That's really important. Thinking puts your body under a lot of stress. Right. And we live in a society where people sort of taught to think a lot. But that actually puts yourself under a lot of stress and then can affect your sleeping patterns. Right. So it's really important to reduce your thinking and to be intuitive. In other words, it's based on just knowing what you need to do rather than thinking and worrying. Because thinking and worrying put your body under a lot of stress. Right. And quite often thinking and worrying is just turning over the same thoughts all the time. And it's really about not trusting your own intuition, about what you know you need to do. Right. And I gather you're a bit of a worrier from just connecting to you. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's just now I understand a lot more about why things happen, like why you feel stressed and like how it all works.
So given that, how do you feel, what do you feel you could do, given on some of the strategies I talked about to overcome stress? what things do you feel you could do to reduce stress in your life?
Um, I used to be like a really sporty person, athletic and sporty.
Yeah.
But the past, 5 or 6 years, I've sort of like gained weight and just non-active, and uh, yeah, and the stress is just built up over time. So it's been hard to manage that with life as well.
Yeah. Because obviously weight too
Mm,
put stress on your body because obviously it means your body's got to try and feed energy to a bigger area, right? So
mm.
obviously extra weight's going to put stress on your body as well. So what else? What could you do in a sporting manner that you would enjoy to do?
Um, I really like to play cricket. You know,
Are you Indian?
that's
Are you Indian?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm Indian.
Yeah. I asked that question because obviously Indians love cricket. I've just been watching the test today actually against Pakistan. Right.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah. So maybe it could be just playing social cricket, which of course it's that time of year, being
Mm.
summer in Australia. You live in Melbourne, obviously, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe you could just look at playing social cricket. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually thinking about that as well.
Yeah. So maybe you
Mm,
go and find somewhere you can play social cricket, which doesn't put you under too much stress and because good thing about cricket is that you're out in the field all day
mm.
and you're in the fresh air, which is really good for your body as well. What other strategies could you believe you could do? Because so, did you say sleeping is one of your problems?
Sometimes when I have a lot on my mind, I have difficulty having a good quality sleep.
So therefore, what you need to do is develop some strategies at night to relax. So as an example, like what some people do is they watch TV and then go to bed. And if you watch a TV show which has quite got a lot of things going on in it, right, that's not a good way to relax.
Mm,
Or reading a book is the same thing, is because it's getting you to think. So
mm,
maybe a good way is playing some relaxing music or have a bath or have a shower or just sit outside and relax and not think about anything. So having a good strategy, and it doesn't have to be that long, it might just be 5, 10 minutes, but that can make a huge difference. Because if you don't have a good sleep,
mm.
that also puts your body under a lot of stress. Because bodies actually need good sleep.
Mm,
I mean, if you look at torture, right, one of the main ways they torture people is not let them sleep. Because they know it puts people under a lot of stress, and they're more likely to get out of the person what they want to get out of them.
mm.
So, what other strategies can you do?
Um, I really like listening to music. Whenever I listen to music, you know, um, like I just want to hear the music and nothing else.
What sort of music do you like?
I like I listen to like hip hop,
Yeah.
Indian music. Um, yeah,
So, why don't you listen to music before you go to bed?
yeah, that's something I could implement. Um,
Yeah, and that's something very
yeah.
easy, simple, right?
Hmm.
And it might just be putting your headphones on and having headphones on so you're not hearing other external noise. That would be good for you to have good sleep.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, there's a couple of strategies. I suggest you go and play cricket.
Hmm.
Be good for you. And listen to music at night. See what differences those two things make in your life. Okay, so go and play with that, and we'll see how you go. And thanks for
Yeah.
coming along. And hopefully that's given you some insights into stress.
Yeah, it has definitely.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
go away and connect to that. And okay, so I go. Nice talking to you, and
Yep, you too. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, mate.